The warning. The holographic display cast an eerie blue glow across Commander Sarah Chen's face as she studied the sensor readings for the fifth time. Her quarters aboard the Earth Defense Force vessel Artemis felt unusually cold as the implications of the data sank in. The Arcturian expansion pattern was unmistakable, methodical, precise, and terrifyingly familiar. "Computer, overlay historical conquest patterns from the Centauri archive," she commanded. The hologram shifted, adding red markers to the existing star chart. The correlation was perfect. Every system the Arcturians had peacefully integrated in the past 6 months matched their previous conquest patterns from other sectors. A soft chime interrupted her analysis. "Commander, the Arcturian delegation is ready to begin the diplomatic conference." Lieutenant Rivera's voice came through the comm system. "Understood. I'm on my way." Sarah straightened her midnight blue uniform and took a deep breath. What she was about to do could either save humanity or doom it. The Artemis was Earth's newest diplomatic vessel, intentionally designed to appear modest and unthreatening. At just 400 meters long, it was dwarfed by the massive Arcturian ships that loomed outside. Their crystalline vessels stretched for kilometers, catching and refracting starlight like massive diamonds in space. Sarah entered the conference room, where holographic projectors created the illusion of a vast chamber, despite the ship's small size. The Arcturian delegates already waited inside, tall, elegant beings with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to hold galaxies within them. Their High Coordinator, Vex Tara, stood at the center, a picture of alien grace and superiority. "Commander Chen," Vex Tara's translator converted their harmonic speech into English. "We trust you've had time to review our proposal for Earth's integration into the Arcturian collective." Sarah moved to the conference table, her boots silent on the polished floor. "Yes, High Coordinator. However, we've uncovered some concerning patterns in recent Arcturian activities." The aliens' crystalline features remained perfectly composed, but Sarah caught the subtle shift in their posture. "Concerns? We assure you, the collective only seeks peaceful cooperation." Sarah activated the holographic display, showing the expansion patterns she'd discovered. "Just as you sought peaceful cooperation with the Centauri colonies before they mysteriously lost contact, or the Rigel systems that are now completely under Arcturian control." The temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees. Vex Tara's eyes darkened like storm clouds gathering. "Commander, you overstep. These are internal collective matters. They became Earth's matters when we discovered your fleet movements." Sarah projected another set of data, classified information that had cost 3 good agents their lives to obtain. "You're positioning for an invasion, not integration." The Arcturian delegates exchanged glances that rippled with colors Sarah's human eyes could barely perceive. Vex Tara's voice carried an edge of steel beneath its harmonious tones. "You show imagination, Commander. Perhaps too much. Your primitive senses and limited understanding of cosmic politics lead you to unfortunate conclusions." Sarah kept her expression neutral as she watched the subtle signals passing between the delegates. Her neural implant, invisible to Arcturian scanners, was recording everything. "Primitive. Interesting choice of words for a peaceful delegation." "We mean no offense," another delegate smoothly interjected. "But humanity is young. Your ships are small, your technology basic. The collective merely wishes to guide your development." "Like you guided the development of the Centauri colonies," Sarah pressed. "We've seen the remains of their worlds." Vex Tara rose to their full height, towering over the human commander. "Careful, Commander Chen. It would be unfortunate if Earth's first steps into the galactic community were marred by unfounded accusations." "Not accusations, High Coordinator. Warnings." Sarah stood her ground. "Earth won't be another quiet conquest." The meeting deteriorated quickly after that, as the Arcturian delegation departed in a storm of barely concealed threats and diplomatic double-speak. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. The neural implant had captured everything, every subtle gesture, every hidden threat, every slip in their carefully crafted peaceful facade. Back in her quarters, she encrypted the data and prepared it for transmission to Earth Defense Command. The Arcturians thought they were dealing with a primitive species with limited capabilities. Their arrogance was their weakness. What they didn't know, what humanity had carefully hidden, was that Earth's small ships carried technologies that would redefine space warfare. The quantum shield generators, the phase shift drives, the dark matter weaponry, all disguised as simple steel and ceramics to alien sensors. Sarah's comm unit chimed again. Commander, Lieutenant Rivera's voice was tense. The Arcturian fleet is moving. They're positioning their ships in a combat formation. Right on schedule, Sarah murmured. Signal Earth Defense Command. Authorization Chen Alpha 79. Begin Operation Shadowfall. As she watched through the viewport, the massive Arcturian ships moved like predators circling their prey. They thought they were dealing with a primitive species with toys for ships. They were about to learn why humanity had survived countless extinction-level events on their homeworld. The Artemis' innocent exterior rippled as hidden weapon ports prepared to open. Across human space, other primitive vessels were doing the same. The Arcturians had made a crucial mistake. They had judged humanity by the size of their ships, not the ingenuity of their minds. And they were about to learn just how costly that mistake would be. Sarah opened a channel to all Earth forces in the sector. All ships, this is Commander Chen. The Arcturians have shown their true intentions. Implement defensive protocols. And remember, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every species these conquerors have subjugated. The battle for humanity's future was about to begin, and despite the overwhelming odds, Sarah felt a surge of fierce pride. The Arcturians had dismissed them as primitive, but they were about to discover that humanity's greatest strength had always been turning weakness into advantage. The war for Earth's independence would be fought not with massive ships and overwhelming force, but with innovation, strategy, and the indomitable human spirit that had carried their species from stone tools to the stars. And Sarah Chen intended to make sure it was a lesson the Arcturians would never forget. Hidden strengths. Deep within the Olympus base on Mars, Dr. Marcus Wright stood before a wall of holographic displays, his weathered face illuminated by streams of data. The Quantum Shield Laboratory hummed with energy as the latest test results poured in. Behind him, through reinforced windows, a prototype Earth vessel hung in the massive testing chamber, its hull seamlessly incorporating the technologies that would change the course of the coming war. "Show me the latest simulation results," he commanded. The central display shifted, revealing the devastating impact of an Arcturian plasma cannon against conventional shields, then against his quantum barrier system. The difference was stark. Where traditional defenses shattered, the quantum shield absorbed and redistributed the energy, leaving the test vessel intact. "Dr. Wright," a voice called from the doorway. He turned to see Commander Chen entering the lab, her uniform bearing the subtle signs of recent space travel. "I assume you've heard about the diplomatic failure." Marcus nodded grimly. "Failure? Or did they react exactly as we predicted?" He gestured to another display showing the current positions of the Arcturian fleet. Their arrogance makes them predictable. They see our smaller ships and assume technological inferiority. Sarah moved to stand beside him, studying the tactical display. "How ready are we, really?" Marcus activated a secure hologram showing the full extent of Earth's hidden fleet modifications. "The quantum shields are fully operational on 60% of our vessels. The phase shift drives are integrated across the entire fleet. But it's the dark matter cascade system that's going to surprise them the most." The hologram shifted to show a cutaway of what appeared to be a standard Earth destroyer. Beneath its seemingly primitive exterior lay layers of technology that would make any Arcturian engineer's crystalline features crack with disbelief. "They scan our ships and see basic metal alloys and simple propulsion systems," Marcus explained, pride evident in his voice. What they can't detect is the quantum-entangled core that powers everything. We've hidden our advances in plain sight, using their own assumptions against them. Sarah traced a finger along the holographic ship's outline, and the microbot swarms. Marcus smiled, touching a control that revealed swarms of microscopic robots integrated into the ship's hull. My personal favorite. When activated, they can reconfigure our vessels in real time. Weapon ports, shield emitters, even the basic shape of the ship can be altered mid-battle. The Arcturians won't know what they're really fighting until it's too late. Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert. Admiral Chen, Sarah's mother and the architect of Earth's defense strategy, appeared on the main screen. Sarah, Marcus, we've detected Arcturian ships moving toward the Proxima Centauri colony. They're not even trying to hide their intentions anymore. Sarah straightened, her expression hardening. How long? 6 hours at their current speed. They'll expect us to either evacuate or mount a token defense with our primitive ships. Admiral Chen's face showed a hint of fierce pride. Instead, they're going to experience Operation Phantom firsthand. Marcus brought up the operation details. The plan was elegant in its simplicity. Use the Arcturians' prejudice against them. Earth's ships would appear to retreat, drawing the invasion fleet into carefully prepared killing zones where the full power of humanity's hidden technology would be revealed. The mobile shipyards are in position, Sarah asked. Hidden in the Oort clouds of 3 systems, her mother confirmed. Ready to begin mass-producing our primitive vessels the moment the Arcturians commit to their invasion. They'll never expect us to be able to replace our losses so quickly. Marcus added, all that each new ship will be more advanced than the last, incorporating combat data in real time through the quantum network. The Admiral's expression grew serious. There's something else. Our deep space probes have detected unusual energy signatures from the Arcturian homeworld. They're mobilizing something big. The World Breaker. Sarah's voice was quiet. Marcus pulled up the classified files on the Arcturian superweapon, a massive vessel capable of tearing planets apart. They've only used it twice in recorded history, both times against civilizations they considered beneath them. Then we stick to the plan, Admiral Chen declared. Let them think they're facing a primitive species with delusions of adequacy. Marcus, is the Lazarus Protocol ready? The scientist nodded sullenly. Ready and synchronized across all command ships. If they do bring out their world breaker, they'll learn that humanity has a few planet-scale surprises of our own. Sarah moved to the tactical display, studying the projected battle lines. We've hidden our strength for so long, planned for every contingency. The Arcturians think they're dealing with children playing at war. They don't understand that humanity's greatest advances came from centuries of fighting against extinction on our own world. And each other, Marcus added grimly. Every war, every conflict in human history has pushed our technology forward. We've turned our greatest weakness, our division, into our greatest strength, adaptation. Admiral Chen's image flickered as she consulted something off-screen. The Arcturian fleet is accelerating. They'll reach Proxima Centauri ahead of schedule. Sarah, get back to the Artemis. Marcus, begin full production of the quantum shields. It's time to show the galaxy why you don't underestimate human ingenuity. As Sarah headed for her ship, Marcus called after her. Commander, when you spring the trap, do me a favor. Record their reactions. I want to see their faces when they realize those primitive ships they've been mocking are about to rewrite the rules of space warfare. Sarah's smile was predatory. Oh, I'll record everything. The Arcturians wanted to make an example of humanity. They're about to get their wish, just not in the way they expected. The quantum lab hummed with increased activity as production lines spun up across Mars. Above, Earth's small fleet prepared to defend Proxima Centauri with technologies that defied conventional physics. The Arcturians were about to learn that the most dangerous predator isn't always the biggest or most visible. Sometimes it's the one that appears harmless until the moment it strikes. And humanity was done playing harmless. The first strike. The Proxima Centauri colony hung like a jewel against the backdrop of space, its orbital habitats gleaming in the red dwarf's light. Commander Sarah Chen watched from the Artemis Bridge as the massive Arcturian fleet emerged from hyperspace, their crystalline ships casting prismatic reflections across the void. Initial scans showed 50 capital ships, a force that could reduce most civilizations to ash. "All stations, atoll stations," Sarah commanded, her voice steady. "Initiate Operation Phantom, Phase 1. Around the Artemis, Earth's primitive fleet appeared to scatter in disarray. 20 small destroyers and frigates, none larger than 500 meters, fleeing before the might of the Arcturian armada. To the enemy sensors, it would look like panic, exactly as planned. "Arcturian fleet is pursuing," Lieutenant Rivera reported. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies, standard intimidation tactics." The alien transmission filled the bridge. "Attention inferior Earth vessels, your resistance is futile and illogical. Surrender now and accept your place under Arcturian guidance, or be destroyed." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Send our response. We surrender. Requesting terms." Her bridge crew maintained their professionalism, but she could feel their anticipation. Months of preparation, years of technological development, all leading to this moment. "Arcturian command ship is moving forward," Tactical reported. "They're deploying boarding parties. 5 minutes until intercept." "Perfect." Sarah opened a channel to all Earth ships. "All vessels, confirm Lazarus Protocol is active." Green acknowledgements lit up her display. Every human ship was running dark matter reactors at minimal power, masking their true capabilities. The quantum shields were powered but inactive, hiding behind conventional barriers that the Arcturians could easily detect and dismiss. The enemy fleet spread out in a standard conquest formation, their massive ships moving with practiced precision. They had done this dozens of times to other species. Their sensors would show exactly what they expected: primitive shield technology, basic weapon systems, and hull compositions barely worthy of interstellar travel. "Commander," Rivera's voice held a note of urgency. "They're charging weapons." "Of course they are," Sarah replied calmly. "They never intended to accept our surrender. Initiate Phase 2. The first Arcturian shots lanced out, plasma bolts designed to disable the human vessel's primitive shields. They struck and passed straight through the Earth ships as if they weren't there. "Holograms," Sarah announced with satisfaction. "Let's show them where we really are." Above the Arcturian fleet, space itself seemed to ripple. 20 Earth vessels shimmered into existence, their hulls reconfiguring as hidden weapon ports opened and quantum shields flared to life. The real fleet had been there the whole time, cloaked by technology the Arcturians had dismissed as impossible for primitives to achieve. "All ships, weapons free," Sarah commanded. "Show them what these toys can do." The dark matter cascades activated first. Beams of invisible force struck the Arcturian ships, disrupting their crystalline structure at the quantum level. Massive vessels began to break apart, their supposedly impenetrable hulls shattering like glass. "Arcturian fleet is attempting to regroup," Tactical reported with barely contained excitement. They're hailing us." "Put them through." High Coordinator Vex Tara's face appeared on screen, their crystalline features distorted with shock and rage. "This is impossible. Your technology, you couldn't." "Couldn't what?" Sarah's voice was ice. "Couldn't develop beyond your expectations. Couldn't hide our true capabilities. Couldn't wait for you to show your true intentions." The Arcturian leader's response was cut short as their ship rocked with impacts. The human fleet's microbot swarms had attached to their hulls, reconfiguring into weapon platforms that bypassed their shields entirely. "Target their engines," Sarah ordered. "Disable, don't destroy. I want survivors to carry our message back to their empire." The battle that followed would be studied in war colleges for centuries. Earth's small fleet danced through the Arcturian formation, their quantum shields absorbing and redirecting enemy fire, while their dark matter weapons systematically dismantled ships 10 times their size. The microbot swarms spread like a virus through the enemy fleet, turning the Arcturians' own hull materials against them. Enemy fleet at 60% capacity, Rivera reported. They're attempting to retreat. Sarah watched as the mighty Arcturian armada began to fall back in disarray. Allow 3 ships to escape, disable the rest. The battle was over in less than an hour. Where 50 Arcturian capital ships had arrived, only 3 limped away through hyperspace. The rest floated powerless, their crews trapped inside by their own crystalline technology. Signal from Earth Defense Command, Rivera announced. Admiral Chen sends congratulations. Operation Phantom was a complete success. Sarah nodded, watching as Earth rescue ships moved in to begin boarding operations. Send word to Dr. Wright. Tell him his quantum shields performed perfectly, and get me a secure channel to the captured Arcturian crews. When the channel opened, she addressed their prisoners in clear, measured tones. This is Commander Chen. Your ships are disabled, your crews are alive, and you are now prisoners of war under Earth protection. We will treat you with the respect you denied us. She paused, letting that sink in. But understand this, the battle you just lost. That was our first-generation technology. The ships you mocked as primitive, they're already obsolete by our standards. Think about that when you report back to your empire. As the Proxima Centauri's sun rose over the battlefield, Sarah received another priority transmission. Commander, Admiral Chen's voice was urgent. Long-range sensors have detected it. The world breaker has left the Arcturian homeworld. Sarah's expression hardened. Then we proceed with Phase 3. They wanted to make an example of humanity. Let's show them why our species survived a planet that tried to kill us every day of our evolution. The real war was about to begin, and humanity was ready. Turning the tide. The world breaker emerged from hyperspace like a crystalline leviathan, its 100-kilometer length dwarfing even the largest Arcturian capital ships. From the command center deep within Mars base, Admiral Chen watched the long-range sensor feeds with her senior staff. The massive weapon's arrival cast a shadow across human space that no one could ignore. Time to intercept Earth, she asked, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. 72 hours at current speed, General Santos responded, his holographic image flickering slightly. They're making no attempt to hide their approach. This is meant to be a show of force. Then let's give them a show they'll never forget. Admiral Chen activated the secure quantum link to all Earth defense installations. Initialize Operation Ghost Protocol. All ships go dark. Across human space, vessels of the Earth Defense Fleet began to vanish. Not through conventional cloaking technology, the Arcturians could detect that, but through Dr. Wright's revolutionary phase shift system. Each ship shifted slightly out of normal space-time, becoming completely undetectable to conventional sensors. In orbit around Neptune, Commander Sarah Chen watched as her task force of 30 ships disappeared from all scanning systems. The Artemis, now upgraded with bleeding-edge technology from the Mars laboratories, led the Ghost Fleet into position. All ships reporting successful phase shift, Lieutenant Rivera's voice came through the quantum comm, undetectable by Arcturian monitoring. The enemy fleet hasn't altered course. They think we're massing at Earth for a final stand. Sarah studied the tactical display showing the world breaker's approach. They expect us to defend our homeworld conventionally. They still haven't learned that humanity's greatest strength is doing the unexpected. The next 48 hours saw the greatest mobilization in human history, but not in the way the Arcturians anticipated. Instead of consolidating forces around Earth, the Ghost Fleet scattered throughout the solar system in small, highly mobile groups. The orbital shipyards, already hidden in the Oort cloud, accelerated production of their newest weapon, the Nexus drones. Dr. Wright's voice came through the quantum network from his Mars facility. The final test results are in. The Nexus swarms are exceeding all performance metrics. Once they attach to the World Breaker's hull, its own crystalline structure will become its greatest weakness. Admiral Chen nodded in satisfaction. Deploy the first wave. Let's see how their supreme weapon handles being eaten alive from the inside out. The Nexus drones, each no larger than a human hand, were launched by the thousands from hidden bases across the solar system. Like their smaller microbot cousins, they could reconfigure themselves, but these carried a more insidious payload: quantum destabilizers designed specifically to disrupt the perfect crystalline structure of Arcturian technology. As the World Breaker entered the outer solar system, flanked by its escort fleet, the trap was ready. Sara's ghost fleet moved into position, completely undetectable, while the Nexus swarms approached from multiple vectors, their tiny size making them virtually invisible against the backdrop of space. They're launching their ultimatum, Rivera reported from the Artemis Bridge. The Arcturian message played across all frequencies: primitive humans, witness your extinction. The World Breaker has never failed to destroy a species that defied the collective. Your resistance ends today. Sara opened a channel to all Ghost Fleet vessels. All ships, execute Protocol Ghost Strike. Remember, we're not trying to destroy the World Breaker, we're going to take it. The battle began without warning. The Ghost Fleet phased back into normal space inside the Arcturian formation, appearing literally within their defensive perimeter. Before the crystalline ships could react, the Nexus swarms struck. Thousands of drones attached themselves to the World Breaker's hull, their quantum destabilizers beginning their work. Direct hit on their primary crystal matrix, Tactical reported. Hull integrity beginning to fluctuate. The World Breaker's surface began to ripple as the perfect crystalline structure that gave it strength started to break down at the quantum level. The massive vessel fired its main weapon, a beam capable of cracking planets, but its targeting systems were already compromised by the spreading quantum disruption. Sara watched as the mighty weapon's shot went wide, missing Earth by millions of kilometers. All ships, implement Phase 2. Show them why humanity's small ships are the deadliest in the galaxy. The Ghost Fleet's dark matter cascades fired in perfect synchronization, their beams amplified by the quantum disruption spreading through the World Breaker's hull. Massive sections of the crystalline vessel began to separate, its structural integrity failing in ways its designers had never imagined possible. Enemy fleet is in chaos, Rivera reported with barely contained excitement. They're trying to self-destruct the World Breaker. Not today, Sara commanded. Launch boarding teams. Take their command center. Earth's special forces, equipped with phase-shift armor that let them walk through crystalline walls as if they were mist, invaded the World Breaker. The Arcturian crews, finding their supposedly invincible fortress turning against them, offered little resistance. Within 6 hours, the unthinkable had happened. The World Breaker, pride of the Arcturian Empire, had fallen to a species they had dismissed as primitive. Its escort fleet lay in ruins, disabled by weapons they hadn't believed possible. Admiral Chen's voice came through the quantum network, broadcasting to all human forces. The World Breaker is secured. All Earth forces stand ready for Phase 5. The Arcturian Empire is about to learn that attacking humanity wasn't just a mistake, it was the beginning of their end. Sara stood on the captured bridge of the World Breaker, watching as Earth teams began adapting its technology. Send word to the Arcturian Empire, she ordered. Tell them humanity is coming. Not for revenge, not for conquest, but to free every species they've subjugated. They thought our small ships made us weak. Now they learn that being underestimated was always our greatest weapon. The tide had turned, and the galaxy would never be the same. The heart of the Empire. The Arcturian throne world of Crystallos hung in space like a massive diamond, its crystalline continents refracting starlight in dazzling patterns. From the bridge of the captured and modified World Breaker, now renamed Humanity's Dawn, Commander Sara Chen observed their target with a mixture of awe and determination. Final status report, she ordered, her voice carrying across the bridge now staffed by a joint human-alien crew. Former prisoners from species the Arcturians had conquered now worked alongside Earth personnel, each bringing unique insights into their common enemy. Quantum disruption field is active, reported Cattol, a former Centaurian slave whose people have been among the first to fall to Arcturian expansion. Their planetary shields can't detect us through the phase shift. Dr. Wright's voice came through the quantum comm from his new laboratory deep within the converted world breaker. The Nexus swarms have evolved beyond our initial specifications. They're not just disrupting crystalline structures anymore, they're rewriting them. We can take control of their entire defensive network without destroying it. Sarah nodded, studying the tactical displays. After 3 months of systematic campaigns across Arcturian space, liberating conquered worlds and collecting allies, they had finally reached the Empire's heart. But something about their victories nagged at her tactical instincts. It's been too easy, she mused aloud. The Arcturians have ruled for millennia. They shouldn't be falling this quickly. Commander, Lieutenant Rivera called out urgently. We're detecting unusual energy readings from beneath the planet's surface. Something massive is powering up. Before Sarah could respond, a transmission cut through all frequencies. The image that appeared on the main screen wasn't the expected Arcturian leader. Instead, it showed a being of pure energy, its form barely contained within a crystalline shell. Clever humans, the entity spoke, its voice resonating on multiple frequencies simultaneously. You've exceeded all our expectations. Sarah's eyes narrowed. Identify yourself. I am the First Light, creator of the Arcturian Empire. The energy being seemed to pulse with ancient power. What you've been fighting, what you've been defeating, was merely the shell we created to test emerging species. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Sarah's mind raced through every battle, every seemingly easy victory. This was all a test. For 50,000 years, we've watched species rise and fall. Most accept subjugation. Some fight conventionally. But you? First Light's form flickered with what seemed like satisfaction. You humans did something unprecedented. You turned weakness into strength. You made your enemy's assumptions into weapons. Why? Sarah demanded. Why test us at all? Because the galaxy faces a threat beyond your comprehension. The void harmonics approach, beings that devour reality itself. We needed to find a species capable of true innovation, of turning disadvantages into advantages. The crystalline empire was our filter, designed to identify potential allies. Tactical displays suddenly lit up with new data as ancient Arcturian systems revealed themselves. Hidden beneath the crystalline surface of Crystallos lay technology that defied understanding, weapons and defenses built to fight on a scale that made the world breaker look like a child's toy. Show them, First Light commanded. The planet's surface shifted, vast sections of crystalline continent becoming transparent to reveal massive hangars containing ships that merged energy and matter in ways human science had barely theorized. Your phase shift technology, your quantum disruption fields, crude but brilliant first steps toward understanding the true nature of reality, First Light continued. While other species tried to match our crystalline technology, you developed entirely new approaches. You saw limitations as opportunities. Sarah processed this revelation, her tactical mind already seeing the possibilities. The other species you conquered, you weren't just subjugating them. You were protecting them, preserving them until someone could pass your test. Precisely. First Light's form expanded, showing images of the approaching void harmonics, massive rifts in space where reality itself seemed to unravel. We cannot fight this enemy alone. We need allies who think differently, who can see new solutions. Humanity's greatest strength isn't your technology or your determination. It's your ability to innovate, to find answers where others see only obstacles. Commander, Dr. Wright's voice cut in, excitement evident in his tone. The data they're sharing, it's incredible. Their crystalline technology isn't just advanced, it's a foundation for manipulating reality itself, combined with our phase shift principles. We offer an alliance, First Light declared, not as conquerors or subjects but as equals. Help us save reality itself, show us how to think like humans. Sarah looked around at her crew, humans working alongside the very aliens who had once been their enemies, each bringing their own strengths to the fight. An alliance requires trust, she said firmly, and the freedom of all species to develop in their own way. Agreed. First Light's form seemed to smile. That diversity of thought, of approach, it's exactly what we need to face what's coming. The Arcturian Empire as you knew it ends today. In its place, we offer membership in the Galactic Defense Compact. As Sarah prepared to respond, new sensor contacts appeared at the system's edge. The void harmonics had arrived early. Reality itself seemed to warp around the massive rifts in space-time. Well, Sarah said, a determined smile crossing her face. I suppose this is our chance to show you exactly how humanity handles impossible odds. All ships, prepare for battle. Let's show these reality devourers why you should never underestimate the species that turned a deaf world into a cradle of innovation. The true test of humanity's ingenuity was about to begin. A new dawn. The void harmonics tore through space like cosmic wounds, reality bending and distorting around their approach. From the command deck of humanity's dawn, Sarah Chen watched as the sensors struggled to make sense of entities that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. All ships, battle formation echo, she commanded, her voice carrying across the quantum network to the combined fleet of human, Arcturian, and liberated alien vessels. Dr. Wright, status on the integration. In the ship's modified engineering bay, Marcus Wright worked frantically alongside First Light, merging human phase shift technology with ancient Arcturian crystal matrices. We're at 90% integration, he reported. The crystal lattices are accepting our quantum modifications better than expected. We can temporarily shift entire sections of space out of the void harmonics reach. They're targeting the outer colonies first, Lieutenant Rivera reported, highlighting several systems on the tactical display. Standard reality consumption pattern, just like First Light warned us about. Sarah's eyes narrowed as she studied the enemy's approach. The void harmonics moved like a force of nature, consuming everything in their path. But there was something about their pattern. They're predictable, she realized aloud. They follow the paths of least resistance through reality itself. First Light, confirm. The energy beings form pulsed with approval. Yes, for all their power, they lack true intelligence. They're cosmic forces following universal laws. That's why we needed a species that could think creatively. Then we don't try to outfight them. Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. We reshape the battlefield itself. All ships, implement Protocol Labyrinth. The combined fleet moved with precision that would have been impossible months ago. Human ingenuity merged with Arcturian power and the unique abilities of a dozen liberated species. Phase-shifted vessels created artificial corridors in space-time, while crystalline ships generated quantum barriers that redirected the flow of reality itself. We're not just defending, Sarah explained as the plan unfolded. We're creating a maze at the quantum level. Lieutenant, activate the Nexus swarms. Millions of evolved Nexus drones deployed from the fleet's ships, their hybrid human Arcturian technology, allowing them to manipulate the very fabric of space. They formed intricate patterns, creating a complex web of altered reality that forced the void harmonics to follow specific paths. They're responding, Cattell reported from his tactical station. The rifts are being channeled through our quantum corridors. Dr. Wright's voice carried newfound excitement. The crystal matrices are holding. We can actually contain them. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. Now for the trap. All ships, execute Sierra Protocol. The real genius of humanity's plan revealed itself. As the void harmonics followed the paths of least resistance through the quantum maze, they found themselves being drawn into carefully prepared pocket universes, temporary bubbles of reality created by the merged technologies of multiple civilizations. Reality anchors holding, first light confirmed. The rifts are being isolated in contained spaces. But the void harmonics weren't finished. One of the largest rifts pulsed with impossible energy, tearing through the quantum barriers. A section of the fleet vanished instantly, consumed by the breakdown of reality itself. "Adjust the phase variance," Sarah ordered. "Don't try to block them, redirect them. Remember your training, use their strength against them." The human concept of martial arts applied to cosmic forces proved devastatingly effective. Instead of trying to stop the reality-destroying entities, the fleet guided them, using their own momentum and power to send them crashing into each other. "Multiple rifts are colliding," Rivera reported with barely contained awe. They're consuming each other." "All ships, full power to the reality anchors," Sarah commanded. "Force them to remain in those intersection points. Dr. Wright?" "Ready with the quantum seal," he confirmed. "But Commander, this will permanently alter this section of space. We'll be creating something that's never existed before." "Sometimes the best solutions are the ones no one's tried before," Sarah replied. "Execute final phase." The combined fleet activated their most powerful weapons, not beams or projectiles, but tools that rewrote the laws of physics themselves. The colliding void harmonics, trapped by their own destructive nature, were sealed into a new form of existence. "Quantum readings stabilizing," First Light announced. "The rifts, they're becoming a new form of space-time, a barrier between realities." Where the void harmonics had threatened to destroy everything, now stood a permanent quantum barrier, protecting their galaxy from future incursions. The combined knowledge and creativity of multiple species had turned an overwhelming threat into a defensive asset. As the fleet regrouped, Sarah opened a channel to all ships. "This victory belongs to everyone, not to humanity alone, not to the Arcturians, but to all of us together. We proved that true strength lies not in size or power, but in the ability to adapt, to think differently, and to work together." First Light's form appeared on the bridge, its energy patterns suggesting what might have been pride. The Galactic Defense Compact begins today, not as conquerors and subjects, but as equals. Each species bringing their unique perspectives and abilities to protect our shared reality. "And if other threats emerge?" Hal asked from his station. Sarah's expression held confident determination. "Then they'll learn the same lesson the Arcturians did. Never underestimate a species that turned a death world into a cradle of civilization. Never dismiss anyone as primitive just because they're different. And never, ever assume that small ships mean weak ships." As the fleet set course for Earth, where the first official meeting of the compact would be held, Sarah looked out at the transformed space where the void harmonics had been. Humanity had come to the stars thinking they were alone, only to find themselves at the center of a galactic revolution. They had been mocked, dismissed, and underestimated, and in the end, those assumptions had become the foundation of their greatest victory. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what it needed. The age of isolation was over. The age of innovation and cooperation had begun, and it all started because some aliens made the mistake of mocking a tiny fleet.